Hey guys, how we doing? So we're back on another video from Annie News, and it's Overlord related. Love these things. And we're going to look into who Aura and Mare are, because I'm really interested in this, because I might be being stupid here, but I don't feel like we got much information through the anime as to how they came to be who they are. I find it interesting that like the one that looks like a girl is a boy, and the one that looks like a boy is a girl. You know, people that play games do weird things, and that's what this anime really does pick up on, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I am right in that. Like, bloody hell, what was it? Like, Shaltier's creator did weird stuff with the way he created her, and what she could do, and I don't want to really go into, but anyway, you know what I mean. So, let's get into this. Who are Aura and Mare? And I apologise if I'm not pronouncing their names right. People give me like crap for how I pronounce Naruto, but whatever. Let's do this. Ooh, people wanted this. It's time for the traps.
Today I bring you a special episode because today
amazing.
we get not just one, but two Overlord characters in the same video. Yep, that's right. This time we're covering the twin siblings and joint floor guardians of Nazareth's 6th floor, Aura and Mare Bellofiore. Creations of Ainz Ul Goen Guild member Buku Buku Chugama, who was the older sister of the highly cultured man that was Perroncino. But before we get into it, as usual, here's a quick plug. Now, let's begin. So, I think we should start with the youngest, Mare Bellofiore, Italian for beautiful flower of the sea.
Wow!
He's very introverted, shy, cowardly, and effeminate, especially with regards to his interactions with other denizens of Nazareth. But
Italian,
despite his appearance, personality, and pretty name, he is unequivocally a male.
Yes.
And as if to solidify this fact, the word used to refer to beauty in his name is bello, the male-gendered version of the term.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, his favorite hobby is to quietly read books by himself. When not working, he would frequently borrow books from Nazareth's library, Ashurbanipal.
That's cool.
He also comes across as extremely
I
self-conscious
like it when characters have certain
as if he's always afraid of failing.
Things they do.
Then there's the times where he can be absent-minded, in a way that honestly can be seen as bordering on autistic, due to the difficulty he has understanding the thoughts and opinions of others.
Alright, okay.
Despite all this, though, he's very diligent, and if left to his own devices while devoid of too much pressure, he can be a very efficient and effective servant of Nazareth.
Well, yeah, because like, didn't he like
for his
beat
older
the...
sister now, she's
They
Aura
had missions.
Bellofiore, meaning beautiful flower of the air.
Oh.
This time with the female-gendered version of the word
Bella.
beauty.
Right.
Now, unlike her brother, she's an athletic, outgoing, and fearless tomboy,
I'm
though
loving
can
the
still be
pictures.
somewhat effeminate at times, especially when around Ainz. As I'm sure you've seen in the anime, she's a big fan of collecting and training various beasts and creatures.
Cool.
She loves playing games with them, training them to do tricks, and even getting into play fights with them. Generally, the more powerful or rare the creature, the better. Although she doesn't mind weak ones so long as they're interesting or useful. For instance, in one case, she trained a bunch of little mandrakes to pop out of the ground and scream, "Long live Ainz Ul Goen."
That's cool.
So, it's stuff like that
That's amazing.
occupied. Now, as a level 100 NPC, she could probably wrestle a run-of-the-mill dragon to the ground with her bare hands.
Powerful.
Of course, a Dragon Lord might give her a bit more trouble.
Maybe.
But she really needs to do this, since most feral creatures realize instinctually that she's an extremely dangerous high-level person.
You don't mess
and
with
they
her.
become
Do not
easily
mess.
intimidated by her. Though, despite her interest in most living creatures, she absolutely hates insects. As a matter of fact, she is routinely disgusted by some of Nazareth's more gruesome insectoid denizens.
Interesting.
I imagine someone like Kyokuko would be a prime example.
Yeah, definitely.
But she doesn't seem to have too much trouble interacting with Cocytus or Antoma, as their outward appearances aren't too creepy.
No,
well,
I suppose.
At least not until Antoma's mask falls off and she loses her voice box.
You see
Then
all that.
we get into some nightmare fuel. Now, as it is with many of the other floor guardians, in order to really understand why these two have the personality, mannerisms, and appearances that they do, it's important to understand their creator.
There we go, here we go.
Chugama. If you've been following our Who is Overlord series for some time now, then you probably already know why this is. But for those of you who are watching this for the first time, welcome. And here's why we like to analyze their creator too. As the
because
person
they share the
that brought them into
personality.
existence, Buku Buku Chugama specified not only their appearance but a majority of their personality. Meaning, whatever her interests and personality may have been, they would have largely influenced how she made Aura and Mare. But keep in mind that during the transition from video game to the new world, they, as did all the other NPCs, inherited limited aspects of their creator's
from the creator,
in ways that weren't quite specified in their lore or backstory. For instance, we mentioned in the Who is Shalltear series that Shalltear and Aura often get into fights, mirroring the way that their respective creators would have
collided.
But just as relevant is that despite this feud, the two of them share a very close bond, and Aura always feels a strong desire to watch over Shalltear, in a way that's similar to how an older sister would. It's much the same way that Buku Buku Chagama was always looking out for Peroronchino.
Right.
Speaking of which, with Peroronchino, we were able to look into a lot of his personal tastes. But what about
this is what I was trying to touch upon. I was like, not going there.
That she'd be anything remotely close to her brother. So, what exactly is the deal with her? Well, let's take a closer look for a minute. Buku Buku Chagama was one of three
it makes me laugh every time he says that.
The other two being Yamaiko and Enkoro Mochimochi. She was a very skilled player whose character was a pink slime that acted as a frontline tank. Not only was she excellent at aggro management, but she was highly competent at being a group leader for raids.
That's cool.
As for her name, it translates to simmering or bubbling teapot, with Buku Buku being the bubble sound effect and Chagama meaning teapot.
Right.
In real life, she was a voice actress that went by the stage name Kazeyumi Kumi. She specialized in young, cutesy lolly characters, ones that could mainly be found in anime, video games, and even some erotic content, which actually caused a significant amount of suffering for Peroronchino, as he would often have difficulty appreciating such works when he heard his older sister's voice in them. And just to be clear, I'm not talking about the anime or the video games. But much like her younger brother, she liked teasing and playing jokes on others. So she would often use her stage voice and cute, shy personality when interacting with other guildmates.
Right.
Her normal personality was a lot
more
role-playing
within the game,
assertive, and even tomboyish, which ended up producing an amusing contrast. In most scenarios, she acted like your run-of-the-mill sweet anime character. But when she got upset, that's when her usual persona would slip out. And in her anger or frustration, she could become frighteningly scary.
Right.
This would mainly happen when her younger brother did something stupid or ridiculous that ended up embarrassing her. So now knowing this, I'm sure you can see where I'm going with it. Accordingly, this personality dichotomy is reflected in the personality of
both
her
of
two
them.
NPCs, Aura and Mare.
Yeah, that's cool.
Aura's personality
so her two
and
sides are reflected
within
both of them. That's
Buku Buku
awesome.
Chagama's normal personality, particularly when she's interacting with Mare or Shalltear. Now, by contrast, Mare inherited more of the false, cutesy, effeminate persona. But that's not to say that their respective personalities were an accident. No, it's most likely that she created Aura as kind of a self-insert, while Mare was probably designed to be docile because of her constant fights with her annoying younger brother. Ironically, instead of a younger brother who was annoying because he was too independent and would never do what she told him, Mare was the opposite. He would constantly annoy Aura because he was far too dependent on her.
Oh, they need each other.
Her to tell him what to do and give him encouragement.
Yeah.
In fact, he seems far more independent and competent when away from his sister. But more on that aspect later. There's actually another reason why Buku Buku Chagama created them to have these personalities. And to put it in the easiest way that I can, she simply liked traps. Which brings us back to this recurring theme of Gap Moe. Something that's commonly found all throughout Nazareth.
Fair enough.
In Buku Chagama's case, it's implied that she was a fan of Guro Kawaii, or Kimo Kawaii,
which
both
is
meaning grotesque cute.
Oh.
Think Mori Chak's Gloomy Bear, or even her character. Her attempt at this gross cute character was this pink slime avatar.
Yeah.
Though it turned out to be a bit of a failure, since no one in the guild thought that this slime was cute in any way.
Yeah.
Similarly, it's
I know,
likely that
I don't.
Buku Buku Chagama enjoyed the Gap Moe aspect of traps as well. Trap being the word from otaku culture, describing a character that appears to be a specific gender due to their expressions and mannerisms, but are in fact the opposite gender. Essentially, it's a man that appears to be a woman, or a woman that appears to be a man.
Yeah.
They are affectionately known as traps because they trick the viewer or reader into being attracted to something that they would not normally be attracted to.
Yeah, oh god, the ReZero one. Oh god.
In order to exacerbate the confusion. And to further that to its uppermost limit, they're often designed androgynously, meaning the masculine or feminine traits that normally distinguish a gender are now rather ambiguous.
Oh god, stop.
As if they have a combination of both. Now, while Buku Buku Chagama may certainly not be as cultured as her brother, perhaps she had her own brand of eccentric interests. Even Ein suspected that she would feel quite embarrassed if she ever had to meet her creations. After all, traps themselves can be a fetish. Attraction to
Yeah.
androgyny goes all the way back to Greek times. So perhaps she's secretly a fan of shotas or male traps, since
Maybe.
ultimately many Nazarick denizens were designed to appeal to their creators' fetishistic desires.
Yeah,
making
that's
the
what I've been
reasonings
noticing
behind
as
her
well. It's like,
twin sibling creations not too strange.
I got
all
a
things
strange
considered.
fetish for this. Let's
What
put it in
does
this
seem rather
character's
strange, though, is the curious
traits.
contradiction between Mare's personality when interacting with Nazarick denizens as opposed to the New Worlders. We've seen this in other Nazarick denizens before, like Albedo, Demiurge, or Shatir. To them, New Worlders are basically insects at best,
Below them.
or playthings to impress at worst. By contrast, fellow Nazarick denizens, no matter how pathetic, are still deserving of, if not respect, then at least dignity, so long as they obey the will of the Supreme One anyway. Similarly, while Mare is extremely cowardly and docile in the presence of other Nazarick denizens, this ultimately doesn't apply when interacting with New Worlders. This is partly because despite his outward personality, both he and his sister have a karma rating of -100. We've discussed this before, but karma had various gameplay effects in Yggdrasil. Of course, when the NPCs were given life in the New World, their karma ratings were folded into and became a core part of their personality as a whole.
Damn.
While it's never precisely specified what different karma ratings actually translate to, we can explore the behavioral patterns of those with different ratings. Ratings of around 100 or above roughly mark someone as good aligned.
Good. Yeah.
They
Almighty.
tend to demonstrate empathy and concern for the well-being of most, if not all, other life forms, including New Worlders. And at the extreme end, this can manifest as a positive desire to improve their well-being or even protect them.
Oh,
Basically, the higher your karma rating, the more likely you are to go out of your way to proactively assist others. Now, ratings below -100 generally mark someone as evil aligned. They
Proper
tend
bad.
to manifest open hostility and disdain
Real bad.
for the well-being of New Worlders, and in extreme cases, this may manifest as outright
God,
cynicism or just pure
Demiurge.
hostility towards their very existence. Basically, the very fact that New Worlders are alive is so offensive and so disgusting that they go out of their way to make their lives as miserable as possible, or at least
but-
feel the urge to stamp out their lives immediately upon witnessing them. Finally, ratings between plus and -100 roughly correspond to neutral, and it reflects individuals who have a more pragmatic view of others. Those who tilt more towards evil have a greater proclivity towards murder and other evil acts,
Of course.
while those who tilt more towards good are more likely to be generous and kind, though exactly how they behave tends to depend on the person. With Mare and Aura sitting at -100, at the very cusp of the border between neutral and evil, this translates extreme apathy for the lives and well-being of all but a handful of people. Presumably, if you could somehow earn Mare's respect or admiration, or even his attention, he might actually care what happens to you. But for the most part, he'll
Nah.
barely even acknowledge your existence.
Yeah.
We see that despite his shy, passive, and cowardly demeanor,
That's what I'm
on
talking.
multiple
This is what I was trying to talk about.
occasions,
It's
he's
just like
committed
whatever,
cruel acts
drag
of
you
evil.
along.
Like,
We're
he
going.
had no trouble kidnapping Hilma by
No.
bashing her leg in with his staff and
Swatting
dragging
her over
her
the
while
head
she
and then
was
dragging her by
screaming
the
out
hair.
of her house by the hair. And the reason for that was only because he was nervous about being late and wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that she couldn't.
I need to be on time for this.
Or how about when both Mare and Aura were sent to intimidate Jerkniv after the workers' invasion? He destroys half his royal guard with a single earthquake spell, killing hundreds with a mere wave of his staff.
He's like,
and
right,
without even
what are you
batting
gonna
an
do
eye. As a matter of fact, the only thing that stopped him from murdering literally everyone in the city was the order that Ainz gave, telling him to find the Emperor. You see, Mare was concerned that if he killed everyone in the city, then certainly the Emperor would have died too, and he'd fail his mission.
Yeah, it's like he needs to be alive.
You can tell from this that he barely views the New Worlders as living creatures. But let's say he had to fight another Nazarick NPC. He would likely be too afraid of screwing up to even put up much resistance.
Bless.
So, to him, New World denizens are like inanimate objects, little more than a patch of weeds. Actually, on second thought, they may be more akin to a grain of sand or a rock, because it's a little known fact that he actually enjoys collecting plants. Calling New Worlders weeds might be giving them a little bit too much credit.
Too much respect
if
there.
Ainz ordered him to pick up a rock and give it to him, yeah, he'll go and do it. And if said rock starts screaming, "Let me go," or "Don't hurt me," well, it's just a rock, right?
So
That's
why
pretty
listen
much
to it?
Mare's
Yeah.
mentality.
Fair enough.
Now, Aura, on the other hand, is a little bit more socially aware than her younger brother. She seems to recognize that other living creatures outside of Nazarick actually do exist as independent life forms, but she sees no inherent value in their lives. In fact, you could be forgiven for thinking that she bears a lot of similarity with Demiurge, since she
Right.
does sometimes indulge in bouts of sadism when it comes to other creatures. As a
Go
matter
for
of
it.
fact, since her hobby is collecting and training vicious beasts, she probably views humans as we might view animals. In fact,
Right,
many of her
yeah.
pets are intelligent enough to hold a conversation, or can even be about as smart as humans. I mean, she did want to capture Hamsky and turn him into one of her pets.
Of course.
So, to her, some animals can make for good pets, others for good food, and others that are just wild or rabid need to be put down.
Just get rid of them.
Unlike many of the other truly evil NPCs, she's not very sadistic, more like apathetic. Some animals she'll care a lot for, as if they were a cute puppy. But for most animals, including humans and other intelligent demi-humans, she doesn't really seem to care what happens to them, and will happily kill them if asked to.
Damn.
So that's pretty much everything on their creator and respective personalities. Now, what about their responsibilities as Floor Guardians? As we've discussed in the past, Floor Guardians hold an elevated position in Nazarick, as if they were the personal lieutenants of the Supreme Ones. Ainz generally gives orders to them directly, and it's their job to relay these orders to their relevant underlings. But before we get to their exact responsibilities, let's first talk about the floor that they were tasked with guarding, the jungle. This is Nazarick's 6th floor, and it was constructed mostly by the guild member Blue Planet. He wanted to create a natural forest that was unspoiled by humans. The reason being due to the current state of the world. You see, Overlord actually takes place in the 22nd century,
So a little bit in the
specifically
future.
the year 2138.
Right.
And in this timeline, Earth's ecosystem and environment
It's a bit
have been absolutely devastated.
Right.
People that
Whoa.
walk outside have to wear these thick protective suits and masks
Really?
just to avoid getting sick from all the toxic fumes in the air.
Oh, wow.
It's likely a pretty accurate outlook of our current future. Anyway, Blue Planet was
Interesting,
a bit of
did
an
not know that.
environmental romanticist. He looked on with longing and wonder at the VR-constructed vistas and forests, and obsessed over how life may have been like in the past. Particularly how mankind could bask in clean air while taking walks through lively landscapes, rich
Damn,
with
imagine
nature.
not being able to do that.
So,
Fucking
of
hell.
course, his name was a reference to the blue planet that he so
wanted
yearned
for.
for.
Yeah.
The 6th floor
Damn.
was basically his pet project, with the vast majority of it just being forests and grassy plains. But he also constructed the night sky as well, modeling it after the stars in the sky. Stars that he could never see in person due to the thick cloud of pollution which blotted out even the sun.
Damn.
It was made to realistically model the passing of day and night, and even the Earth's rotation around the sun. However, the ceiling was only 200 meters high, and the dimensions of this floor are comparable to any other floor, though it is a convincing enough illusion to create the impression that the floor is unending.
Right.
That being said, the jungle is home to various landmarks. We first have the gigantic tree, which serves as Aura and Mare's home. Then the large hole, which is home to the parasite-like monster Goshakukochuo from the Five Worst.
Wow,
and
yeah.
then we have what's considered to be the most prominent location, the amphitheater, a lifelike reimagining
That
of
looks
the
cool.
ancient Roman Colosseum, and the location where captured invaders would
You
do
can
battle,
see the
while
resemblance.
members of Ainz Ol Gon would watch from the VIP box above. Basically, teleportation traps would pull invaders into the Colosseum, and they'd be forced to battle against endless waves of increasingly difficult foes. It's presumed that escape would also be blocked via magic. Apparently, every major invasion, except for the massive 1,500-man multi-guild one, met their end here. It would seem that the guild members of Ainz Ol Gon had some powerful combinations of monsters to whittle down their enemies with. Finally, the last major location of the jungle is what's called Project Utopia,
Project
a settlement
Utopia.
informally known as the Green Hole. It's comprised of self-sufficient sentient plant creatures, and it was created by Ainz as a means to convince others that Nazarick could coexist peacefully with the denizens of the New World.
Right. It's
Later,
like, we're not
it
all
used to
bad.
grow various crops in order to help sustain Nazarick's operations. You can find here the mandrakes that Aura trains,
Right,
as
which
well
is
as a
like-
dryad known as Pinnison Pulperlia, who joined
Praise
Nazarick in an audio
Lord.
drama released as bonus material. Other residents include a few lizardmen, as well as the Elven slaves that served under Area Uzruth, the one who got wrecked by Hamske when he
Yeah.
and the rest of the worker teams invaded Nazarick. Yeah, so
Well,
if you were ever wondering where those three
he'll be-
slaves ended up, this would be the place. Ainz had spared their lives since they had not invaded Nazarick of their own volition.
No, they were
He decided
forced.
to hand them over to Aura and Mare since
Oh.
he wanted the two siblings to socialize with members of their own kind. Interestingly, these two have a condition known as heterochromia, meaning different colored eyes.
Yeah, I
which
like that.
some readers theorize is a
David Bowie.
marker of elven royalty in the New World. This is because the
He had that,
property is
didn't he?
also shared by the king of the nation of elves,
Didn't mean to
which
just
is
shout
south
that out
of the
in-
slave
oh.
theocracy. This king was a petty tyrant who had sent many female elven women to the front line during the war with the Theocracy, some of whom could have been captured as POWs, then abused and broken, and eventually sold as slaves to citizens in the Bahruluth Empire, which ultimately explains where these elven slave girls came from. Now, as floor guardians of the 6th floor, Aura and Mare's responsibilities would effectively be to meet any encroaching invaders in battle. But as we start talking about that, it'll begin to draw a lot of connections to their build, which is something that's a bit more fitting for part 2 of this video.
Oh, there's going to be a part 2. Cool, how powerful. Awesome.
We'll go over how strong they are, what their build and class design is, what they're capable of, as well as how these capabilities determine the scope of their responsibilities.
I love those. I live for these how strong videos.
Yeah, now that we know more about these two siblings as characters, let me know in the comments which you think is the better of the two.
Cool.
Anyway, before I go, don't forget that the merch links are in the description.
The merch looks so good.
Feel free to join my Discord, where you can talk to me at any time, or even win some pretty cool prizes, as we're about to start the next season of Waifu Wars. Now, as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you already know what to do. So, until next time.
Ciao. That was boss, man. I like the Italian translations of the names, and the fact that yes, looks like a dude, but and is a girl, so uses the female way of the name, the word. That's really cool. Attention to detail. I like that. That's awesome. That was really cool. They're really interesting characters. I like as well the fact that they're both created by someone that had like 2 different kind of personalities they would put on within real life and in the game, and that's reflected within the 2. That's boss. I love these things. I love it. I love learning stuff about Overlord. When's season 4? We need it. But yeah, that's cool. And don't worry, guys. Fate lore videos from Anime News. I don't want to just be putting too much because I love the Anime News content. It's amazing. But I don't want to be putting like. I'm now going to do 2 of the same person a day. I like to leave gaps as well. Because I know there's Shield Hero content videos to cover and the Fate lore videos, which I'm gonna be all over, trust me. But like I don't know what it is with me, but I don't like doing too much of the same person's stuff, reactioning to like really close together. So yeah, but bam, as soon as we get the how strong is Aura and Mare, that's gonna be boss. I can't wait to see that because I think they're pretty damn freaking powerful. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys, yes, all you guys, next time.